Should get my shades. What did I say? What did I declare? And it happened. The sun came out. Very happy. Oh, Lord, eat, Lord. Let me turn this. Okay, day 19. We are really wondering, contemplating, meditating on the fact that when someone shows you who they are, believe them. It's a tale as old as time, but that middle ground between accepting it and releasing it, it's such a struggle. My price has gone up. My presence, the value, the worth of that has gone up for me. So that naturally has to start reflecting and mirroring itself in the spaces that I call home, friends, the spaces that I call family, the spaces that I call love. I have been really thinking about what it is to test spirits, what it is to test people and things and places and spaces and thoughts and patterns. This all leads to better discernment, better wisdom in life. This process of me getting to where I am now, in having overcome so much, has been a process of clearing and sorting. I'm a nature girl. I love me some nature, some facts. And in nature, there is a process where by fire, trees are kind of like burnt down and grass and forests are like burnt down so that it produces a whole new rich soil. New life can come again that was produced through the refining of the fire. That really does testify to exactly what happened with my burn. I was burnt by fire, this scar, this beautiful scar, and genuinely it created ashes in my life, and there was beauty that came from the heartbreak. Again, reminding ourselves that boundaries are for us, they're about us, they're not about the other people, they're not about exclusion, they're about inclusion of thought, of self. Those boundaries that I have around that are around peace. What brings me peace? What brought me chaos? I had to do the what is it and what is it not process. And in this process, I'm like, it's crazy how slow and gentle you have to go with yourself, by yourself, to really accept that chaos is no longer sweet fruit. It's bitter. There's a proverb, oh, I wish I got it up before I started this diary, but there will come a time where you will get sick of the bitter tasting water that you thought was sweet. And I'm really in that. I'm really in that space of mine right now. Like, I have found so much peace in being me authentically as a loner, quote unquote, than I have when I've been around friends, family, acquaintances and things like that. And it's not even about them, it's about me. I have figured out what support is for me. I have figured out what I need relationally. And people just settle for less. People settle for less than what they actually need to support them to become their optimal self. Half the time, I don't think people do really know themselves. Such a sad position to be in life. I really empathize with that version of myself that is now dead and gone. So when I started to take those steps, I didn't know who was staying and I didn't know who was going. That was also very hard. I didn't say at that time to God that, you know, I was really going to let things and people go, but I did say I was going to believe him. That process has been one that has really spoken to the process of leaving to cleave. Leave the world to cleave to God, who is spirit. I'm now coming back into the world, but I am not the same person. So when you meet familiar spirits, you know what to do. And it's really important because you will find yourself back in the same cycles of life. There are so many different levels to this, but I've really learned in this testing, people, spaces, places, thinking patterns, all of it. Familiar people who monitor you are part of the process of clearing. People show you who they are and you need to believe it. Who am I to be monitored? Who am I to have all these familiar spirits floating around? If anything, it's showing me exactly who I am. If those spaces don't serve me relationally, my needs, my desires, my authenticity, then what are you there for? I've really had to stop and be really sober in this season of waiting, because what I'm cultivating here is going into my marriage. What I'm accepting, what I'm practicing here is going to be the fruit of my marriage and my tree is good. My soil has been refined and I'm producing a great harvest by being me. I won't go back. I refuse to go back. I was just settling with the chips that I was handed, and it wasn't many, but I was just settling. Now I demand more, humbly, respectfully, and in love, so I could do this reciprocally. I'm just in this space where I'm accepting and releasing. I have crossed that threshold. I've crossed the gap of like, show me who you are. I've accepted it. Now I've released it. And I feel so burdenless. I feel so much lighter. And I'm very, very grateful. I could not have gotten here without the self-compassion, the grace of God, and the hunger for a new and just beginning. God has defined lines between what is a friend, what is an acquaintance, and what is a foe. That's because they speak to a different level of support where when two come together, they keep each other warm. Now I know how to get warm. I now can discern what makes me cold.